Hello everyone, Shannon Guss here getting you ready for our episode 7 X interview of Australian Survivor Australia versus the World. If you have not seen the Sunday night episode of week 3, the episode that aired, I don't know when you're listening to this, the first episode of the week, please click away. If you have seen that episode, you're the only people here now, and we're talking about it. You'll know that there were actually there should be 2 X interviews. There were 2 boots that night. I don't have an X interview with Cass at this time. I'm hearing she will be available later in the week, so we will get that to you as soon as possible, and hopefully we will have it for you. I did get to speak to Tommy. What a joy. Tommy from Finland. I think we all fell in love with Tommy over this season, and anyone who's seen his season in Finland, he's such a fan of the show. He seems like honestly just such a lovely guy, and it was great to talk to him. There was a lot going on in his game, and he had a really great self-awareness of what was happening as well. So wonderful to talk to him about everything from the language barrier to obviously the big move to try and take that shot on Parvati and everything that went down with that. Crazy episode. We have the recap with Chappelle. That is up. The recap with Puya might be up for the Monday night episode about now. We'll have a recap with Mike as well. And then the reaction episode with Rob, and hopefully more X interviews to come through the week. Hope you're enjoying all of this. Subscribe. WeKnowGlobalSurvivor.com so you don't miss anything. Follow me at Shannon Gates as well, so that you don't miss, I post all of that. And remember to donate to the Chizzy raffle. There are only a few days left. If you want to give Chizzy points, this is your time. Don't look back and think, I should have done it. I could have given better Chizzy points than that. If you've ever had the thought, I would give different Chizzy points, I could do better than that, this is your time. Also, what some people have been doing is donating on behalf of someone. That could be a cute gift as well. What a fun surprise. Hey, I donated on your behalf and now you're giving Chizzy points. Just a fun idea as well. There'll also be a finale party that Zach Sinclair is hosting to watch the finale next Sunday night at Zetland Hotel for the Sydney fans. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but it's always a great group. So just wanted to shout that out as well. But for now, I will leave you with my interview with Tommy and hope you enjoy. Tommy from Finland, what an honor. I've watched you so much in the last couple of months, and now I'm speaking to you. I feel like I'm in my TV.
Shannon, it's so nice to meet you. I really appreciate the effort to go through Finnish season of Survivor just to know who I am. I will take my hat off for you.
Thank you so much. It was well worth it. Between us, no offense to Sammy, you were robbed. I would have voted for you, and that would have been enough because you had a tie.
No.
But genuinely, it was great to watch you play then. It was great to watch you play now. I think you've stolen Australia's hearts, and I have many, many questions for you if you're willing to answer them.
Can I jump from here? I just want to say for you that one thing to playing with the legends that you don't see from cameras, like as a super fan, it's to talk to them about the game that we all love. And I know that I was robbed with Sami, but I learned this term with Parvati and Tony and those people, which was that it wasn't my jury. It's just it can happen. You can play the greatest game, but it's like Eurovision. They sometimes want something different, and every jury is different. So no bitter for Sami. He was deserved winner of our season, and it was now my time to go also from Australia versus the world.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I would have been your jury, Tommy. You played a kind of game that I definitely really enjoyed. But I'd love to talk about some of the legends that you played with. I'd love to talk about this international alliance you had with Cass and with Lisa. Tell me about how that formed in your relationships with them.
It formed in very first day in the beach. I think it was a known fact that there's these all-time greats in our team, the US team. And then we know every player from the Australian tribe. But the common thing with me, Lisa, and Cass is that we are the underdogs. And if we don't want to be picked one by one, we have to unify and we have to play together. But in this season also, as we have seen, there is some starstruck moment, like as we have seen with Lisa and Siri. Also with me and Tony, which wasn't maybe seen on TV. And I know that Cass was also eager to play with Parvati in the World Tribe, and that pattern keep on going when the merge happened. There wasn't many people coming to me that oh my God, it's Tommy from Finland. Can I play with you? But we could see that happened with Kirby and Parvati. That happened with Sarah, who's super fan. She's also experienced now that she's in the same pitch with Parvati and Siri, and might have a moment to play with them. Also with Shawnee and Parvati. That's kind of the content that people want.
I think that people wanted Shawnee and Finland. I think that that would have been great content as well. But in this relationship that you had with Lisa and Cass, as you said, they very much had this girls thing as well. And I love how you all kind of had your proxy, your US proxy, you all had like a perfect one-to-one. How did
Yeah.
that work? Like, how much did you feel you were prioritized compared to Suri and Parv, for Lisa and Cass? Yeah, how much, who do you think was on the back foot there in that relationship?
I don't know, but like I always can only talk about from my perspective. And the biggest mistake in the last episode was how isolated the Australians were. But that's also the same thing which wasn't so well managed by Cass and Lisa with me. Because as the numbers go down and we vote out Sarah and we vote out Kirby, I'm always the fifth or third person. And of course, in this kind of like all-star season, I also want to have some game for my own. In the World Tribe, after Rob left, that's really like unified us at like the first tribal usually do. It doesn't have anything to do with who is going home. But after that, we were getting those victories and we were really unified as a tribe. My work was to like keep Tony's madness in the minimum. That like I was the one who was like talking to him like, no, don't worry too much about the like girls alliance and like we can have this. We are the guys, and the merch is coming. Then we will jump the boat and like go against Parvati with all the Australians and that kind of stuff. It did well for the like until it was time for the last tribal, and with all the shoe stuff going on his neck, I wasn't anymore like keeping Tony's madness in the minimum. But also in that point, I was doing work for Pinky Alliance. I was like talking to like I know I want to go with you guys. I don't mind being there with Parvati and Siri because if we have 5 people left, I can switch the situation with Pinky Alliance, 3 against 2. But then also when we went to merge, I was doing my role in the World Tribe and splitting the vote between Shannon and Sarah,
Yeah.
also with the Kirby. But in some point, I also have to have my own game and have my case for the jury. I already know how to outlast people, but I want to be there for the victory. And this kind of season, you have to have some moves in you. Like from my perspective, Cass was the one who pitched the idea about Kirby for me. So I knew that like she has already Kirby that she can at least like talk for jury. Like I obviously now saw how big part of Channing was also the Kirby vote, but that's why I needed something to going for me, and therefore I know Lisa and Cass can say still to this day that like, damn you, Tommy, how we had a good thing going. Also, the series is saying the same thing that like, why did you want to go something else than Shawnee? Of course I wanted. Like, what is the moment that I will break the pattern that I won't be fifth in the Pinky Alliance or fifth in the Women's Alliance? So,
Yeah. I agree with you. You have to make the move to win. You and Cass
mm,
know that just getting to the end not to win is you've already done it. As you said, you don't need to do that again. So I
yeah.
completely agree with that mentality. Did you have your own personal relationship with Suri? Were you working with Suri as well, or was it more through Cass and Lisa?
We had a good talks with Siri also, and I think the Rob vote was something that after that Poverty came to me and like we really realized that like we didn't talk at all before the Rob talk, but with Siri that wasn't the case. That like we had a really good and ensuring talk that I think Siri was even worried in the first vote that I'm plotting something against her or something like that. Was never the case, and we had a good talk, and I could ensure her that like I'm not going against the U.S. Players in the first tribal.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that double tribal council where you walk in with the necklace and you leave going home or to jury villa. I mean, I understand the want to go for Parvati and make your own mark on the game, but talk me through that whole night. I feel like that was a crazy night. Can you talk me through your perspective on it?
So I will surely say that the snowball effect, which happened after the merge, I didn't have much to play with as I was like the fifth part of the Women Alliance. I was with the Tony 2 against 4. Then the situation happens that in the auction I see this scroll. I bet all my money on it because I don't have key, I don't have individual idol. I need something. Then after auction, day after, the situation is that like Poverty pulls me aside in the camp and she's offering me those beautiful chocolate cookies that we see on the show. And
Oh,
I was like, okay. we are playing together now, I assume. But I was just falling for the Black Widow's net in that moment because I was like, okay, if I have something to work with Parvati, we could make the move against Cass. That would be also in my best interest because Cass is challenge beast, and I'm always going against her and the Parvati. And I was thinking to Parvati that, like, wouldn't you want to compete those challenges without Cass? And that would be already be a good move in my game to go against my original alliance. And that's kind of the like moves that we want to see this season. And even without Cass, I would have Lisa, and Lisa is really close with Siri, so I could have still be numbers without Pinky Alliance. Well, when we come back to challenge, not Cass just won it, like in the episode that Kirby is going home, but she also confronts me in the jungle when we go thinking like, who are we gonna vote against? And she goes straight to me, Tommy, I heard from Parvati that you want to vote me out. And not just that, like, I'm hearing my name in the jungle. The whole thing that, like, Parvati had told straight just hours after I have pitched that idea to Cass that I want to go against Cass. It was true. And I have to do a lot of damage control in that episode and just go along with the girls and vote for Kirby. But it's also still the situation bubbling under that I'm Tommy from Finland. I want to make my moves and they are not going for me. So that's why when the Parvati didn't win the immunity challenge and I had the like security of the individual idol, I was like, I can go now against anyone with this immunity necklace. So I'm thinking like, let's go now against Parvati because already yesterday Cass had her time with Kirby and now it's my time to like pull Pinky Alliance. That we have been doing a lot of things that I've been just like, I'm on board and I'm in the talks, but they are not my moves. So I need to have something which is my move and take my case to jury in the final episode. So let's go against Parvati. And I made the most of the situation. I tried to talk to Cass. I tried to talk to Lisa, make the reasoning. And I was surprised that I couldn't persuade them enough to make the move. Like before we left the camp, the tribal council, I realized that Lisa also said to me, like, that's a good move. Let's do it. But I'm not voting with you guys. And I was like, how is that working? I don't have the numbers then. I have nothing. Like, and I was talking to Luke and saying that, like, I have something going on, but like, I can't give him the name because then they are throwing me under the bus. And the big problem in that episode that I went home is not, well, the one thing is that it was a double tribal and I only have necklace for the first tribal, but it was also the fact that we isolated the Australians really badly and we didn't manage the situation in the beach. They were 5 against 3, and because none of us was playing with them, they had to make their own game, and they made it beautifully and executed it even more beautiful way.
How did Cass feel about the Parvati vote? If Lisa was a little not on board, how did Cass receive it?
Cass wasn't on board. Cass wasn't on board at all.
Oh,
like she was on board. But when she also realized Lisa wasn't on board, she backed down. And I remember that, like, I was super aggressive on the beach almost. That, like, I remember just like moments before we have to leave, I was still going to Cass, like, Cass, what are you doing? If we want to win this thing, we have to make big moves. And she was just going that, like, it's not good in my. I remember the sentence that she said to me was like, Tommy, I understand you. I understand why it's good for you game, but it's not good for my game in this moment. So that was also a good sentence to say me because we are alliance. And as I wasn't already getting Lisa on board and like Cass is also pulling down, I was like, okay, then I'm making like, let's not do it. Like,
okay.
I got to do it alone. And that's why when the tribal started and Luke started to talk as he made those lies and everything about we going against Siri, which was never the case and that kind of stuff. With the security of the immunity necklace, I was kind of my high horse in that moment. And that's why I was in the silence in the first tribal. I was there just like, told you guys, like, we should have done some moves. Maybe not my moves, but some moves. Going against Shawnee in this kind of season, 5 against 3, we can't underestimate these Australian players that they just like lay down against us like Sarah, Kirby, Shawnee, Jenny, and Luke, and go like that. And I was there thinking that like, let's do this tribal, do damage control, get back to camp, and it's leave it for another day, which never happened.
Yeah. So we're going into that tribal council, walking in where you were voting Shawnee because it hadn't worked
Mm.
out. You weren't voting for Parvati walking into the tribal council.
Yeah, like with the Shawnee vote in the first tribal, the most important stuff was that like I thought in that moment that I'm going back to camp. I knew
Yeah.
that like we are not getting Shawnee in this vote. That's not never gonna happen. But to me, going to Parvati and Siri and saying that I was never against them, it's not gonna happen if I'm voting for Parvati. So I have to vote for Shawnee and do my best to show in actions that my mouth is where my action is. It wasn't. But that would have been the case with the Shawnee vote, to go back with Siri and Parvati and say that like Luke is doing a lot of things, saying that we are going against Siri, which never happened, and we are going against Parvati, which never happened, even if it did happen.
Yeah.
But with Shawnee vote, I could tell her that like this is the case. I was always with you.
But what had the three of you agreed on as of your final conversation before the tribal council? Was it to go for Parvati or was it to stick strong with Parvati and Suri?
I was use my strong language now, and I said before the tribal like fuck it, let's go for Shawnee. I was
Oh,
like
okay. Oh, you gave up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why like that's why I was
Oh,
quiet
okay.
in the tribal.
Okay.
I talked hours in that, like not hours, but like whole time on that beach. I tried to make them work against poverty, and they were eager to
Right.
just go on it. So I was like, I'm giving up. Like I can do this by myself.
Yeah, well, I thought you were going and voting for Parvati, so that is a big change. Did you know about the key? Like, how much did you know about Parvati's podium idol and the key and the box and everything that Lisa and Cass knew about?
I didn't know about that. Uh, I had a lot of talks with Tony. Like I remember the like in the episode we were talking about those little sticks. We were also talking a
Yeah.
lot about little sticks in the camp. And before the tribal night, when Tony left home, I think it was that one, he woke me up like 2 a.m. I was like full asleep, and he was like eager to keep fire going on. I was like, everyone is sleeping. What are we doing with the fire? I was like super sleepy. He pulls me aside in the jungle. We are there, pitch black jungle, just like picking up wood for the firewood. And I was like, what did we do when it was daylight? And then we start to talk about the little sticks in the middle of the night. Like, did you notice how Party wanted us to gather little sticks in the day? And he was super eager also in that moment about the idea that Parvati is having the key. And I had many talks with Tony about the immunity idol also, that we knew that it's somewhere in our beach. And I knew that I didn't have any of those. And I was like 98% that Tony didn't have those idol or key, because the talks that we had in the beach. But that was like my poker moment in the season in the second tribal, when Tony pulled that necklace off and everything. I was like, I'm gonna look so stupid if I go home now when Tony pulls his immunity idol. But if I'm voting for Siri and leaving here without Tony, it's even worse for my game. So he was so convincing in that tribal. And it was something like, well, many of Survivor player have ever experienced their tribe mate to go with the tribal in the shoe in their name, because like
Yeah.
we don't have that kind of tribals in Finland. So I was like, there, this feels different. This feels really convenient. Like I trust the guy, but like I can't trust the guy. So I have to like see his bluff, and it was a bluff. But I also trusted my Pinky Alliance more. I knew that they might have information about the idol or key, which is not in their position, and they are just like holding another people's secret. But I thought that like if they have the key or the idol, they would share that information. So shame on you, Cass. I thought that we had something, but like so I trust those are with Poverty and Siri based on that fact.
Yeah. Well, do you have with how much did the language barrier affect things for you? I mean, it's so impressive that you and Cass are playing out there with native English speakers. I watched your season with English subtitles, and that was tricky for me. What was it like playing the game? How did it affect things?
There were many moments. One being that like there were some information that I didn't pay attention for enough. Like uh, Rob was telling me already in camp that did you know that Poverty and David have a
Oh,
like TV show together. We didn't have Deal or No Deal Island in Finland. Now I know what it is, but like I had no idea what that was in
it
that
sounds
moment.
made
So
up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's kind of the thing. So, and of course, with this TV show stars that we are playing with, we were talking a lot about traders, like Tony's season, series season, the survivors, and that kind of stuff. So that kind of like went from my one ear to other with Tony's traders talk. That like, yeah, people have seasons and TV shows and that kind of stuff. I'm a radio presenter also myself, so I didn't like know the information strategically for that information. Yeah, and the another thing is that like your brain is constantly working in different language, so that taking the toll with the time difference and everything. So like in the tribal, uh, I always understood everything, but another thing was like when I opened my mouth, my tongue wasn't working. Like I could start the sentence and never finish it with like any good reason. I was like, yeah, I'm not working in these hours anymore. Like, and we were talking a lot with Cass that like even when doing confessionals, it really made it different. Like what time of the day it was, and it wasn't like a good 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. It's just like in this time of the moment, I have energy in my body. You know, Survivor, you're not eating well, you're not drinking well, you're not sleeping well, and there are some times that you are just tired of everything that is happening around you. So the translating in that moment and brain going in this, like I could talk slower, but I never do. So my mouth is really having problems sometimes following my brain.
I relate to that. Well, I think your arguments in English were so great when Cass went and you were appealing to the other side. I would have gone with it personally, much like your jury, Tommy. I would have been on board. Okay, that you, if you're appealing to me, I'm there.
Yeah.
But it was great to have you on Australian Survivor. I want to congratulate you. I know you recently had a child as well, so a lot of
Thank
big
you.
things happening, and it's been so much fun to get to know you over the last couple of months. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you, Shannon. So much love for you and your work, what that you do for the fans. Thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.